Okay, we're just going to start the press conference. I'd like to welcome everyone here today. This is a press conference by the National Shop Stewards Network. We launched an anti-cuts campaign at the end of January to link together working class people who are suffering the cuts of this condemned government with workers in the public sector and the private sector, with young people who are facing massive unemployment and also obviously increases in student fees and a tax on EMA as well. So today we've called this press conference because there's a couple of things on March the 5th in particular that we are organising and supporting as we build towards what hopefully will be a massive demonstration on March 26th. In Cardiff, the Conservatives and the Lib Dems are organising conferences, and we are supporting a demonstration called by the Cardiff Trades Council, and now supported by a number of trade unions, including the Wales TUC, against those conferences. But also, on the same day, the Labour local government conference will be held of Labour councillors in London, and we are organising a demonstration to that conference, and we will be handing in a petition calling on those Labour councillors to refuse to implement the condemned cuts. So we've got a number of people here today. We're all going to say a few words and encourage people to come to those events. I'd say my name is Rob Williams from the National Shop Stewards Network. I've got Alex Gold, the President of the Rail and Seafarers Union, the RMT. Councillor Kingsley Abrams, who is now with the independent Labour councillor in Lambeth, because disgracefully he has been suspended for the crime of voting against the cuts, actually in his Labour group meeting, but the full councillors meeting tonight, and Kingsley can explain a bit about that. Suzanne Moona from the Unite Housing Branch were of course her members, and the people she services were in the forefront of these condemned cuts. We've also got Paul Callahan from Youth Fight for Jobs. His organisation has announced this week that they are going to be organising a march from Jarrow to London to commemorate that anniversary towards the end of the year. Okay, so first things first, let's introduce Alex to say a few words.
Well, thanks Rob. The RMT was the union that took the initiative originally to establish the National Shop Stewards Network. We're delighted that the National Shop Stewards Network is getting stuck into the fight against the condemned cuts, and this is a press conference to publicise one part of that fight this coming Saturday when the National Shop Stewards Network has organised the march on the Labour Leaders Conference. This is the leaders of the Labour-run local authorities who are meeting in Westminster, people who actually do control decision-making in town halls and county council chambers up and down Britain, and the very clear demands that we're making as part of the march on Saturday is that we don't want Labour councillors implementing Tory Lib Dem cuts. We don't believe this government's got legitimacy itself. We don't believe they were elected on a manifesto of slaughtering the welfare state, and we don't believe that Labour local authority leaders should be colluding in the attacks on working people's communities, services and jobs. So our message is a very clear one. We're calling on Labour councillors to say that they're not going to implement Tory cuts, and if that means that they get removed from office, then there's a struggle outside of town halls which they should be coming out to lead and to take a leading role in, and that is the struggle that's been taken up by communities, trade unions right across Britain, leading up to the 26th of March, when the TUC have called a national demonstration. And just finally, Rob, we've seen yesterday some of the press comments from David Cameron and leading figures in the government that this attack on the welfare state is clearly an all-out attack on the very concept of free collective bargaining and trade unionism in Britain. Some of the scare stories being run in the Daily Mail and the independent newspapers yesterday talk about ending the check-off system for union contributions. something which my union has already had experience of in the 1990s under the last Tory government, but doing that for public sector unions such as Unison, Unite, GMB and others, and further swinging attacks on trade unionism, which would really put the Tories and the Lib Dems on the same kind of trajectory as you can see happening today in Wisconsin, where the US Republicans have made it clear that they want to wipe out collective bargaining altogether for public sector workers. This is a fight that we've all got a stake in, and really it's one that we can't lose. And we're asking Labour councillors to get on side and support us in this fight, as the people who voted for them supported them.
Thanks, Ewan.